not in the traditional relationship of pure regulator, regulated. It's a more complex environment. Yes, there's still this dimension, and the GDPR, which is in everybody's mind at the moment, shows that regulation still does exist. And that, by the way, it has taken dimensions that are now quite different from what traditional exercise of sovereignty was, because extraterritoriality is not normally in the arsenal of traditional sovereignty. Traditional sovereignty is you do things on your territory and the next country doesn't impinge on what you do and you don't impinge on what they're doing, which is, by the way, very much the argument that China is developing in a very traditional sense regarding its regulation of the internet space. But coming back to what I was saying, the notion that today you get regulation that works in a slightly different way, through extraterritoriality, through the exercise of personal jurisdiction by courts over companies that are in other countries, there's a complementary dimension, which is that the companies themselves have a role that is not the traditional role of companies. And we have to be careful, because every time we say the companies, we just have a very limited number of them in mind. We all think about Facebook, Google, Twitter, Apple, and a few others maybe. But we completely leave aside an enormous range of other actors who are other types of intermediaries that can be smaller, they can be at the technical layer. There was a very good panel on the domain name system and so on. So we have to be careful when we talk about interactions between governments and private sector, that we shouldn't be talking only about the very large platforms, although the main evolution is related to the interaction with the large platforms. And what I